All right, welcome to the Latter-day Preparedness YouTube channel. So I just did a video and forgot to hit record. So I'm re-recording it now, or I'm recording it, I guess, for the first time. I'm representing this now, and I'm going to try to be quick and succinct as much as I can anyway. But the product or the piece of emergency preparedness kit that I want to talk about right now is something that I never really considered to be a necessity for emergencies until I got one and I found out how many uses it has and how often we use it, surprisingly. And in the day that we live in where everything runs off of batteries, I find it to be more of a necessity than I ever imagined. And that's so the product I'm talking about is a battery bank like this, something similar to this. This particular one is called the EcoFlow Delta, but there are a lot of different battery banks on the market that are good. My preference is the EcoFlow. It's a brand that I've used quite a bit in the past, and I've had great experiences with them. I've read a bunch of reviews on battery banks in the past, and EcoFlow seems to come out on top or right near the top in almost all of those reviews. They charge very quickly. They seem to be quite reliable, so I've had good experience with them, and that's why I've stuck with that brand. They're a little more expensive than some of the other brands, but I find that you can find them on sale fairly regularly, and they're really not too out of control as far as the price goes if you find them on sale. I'll show you real quickly. So this is the EcoFlow Delta 2. Normally $1,000. They have it listed at $1,000. I've never actually seen them sell them at $1,000. They're usually on sale for $700 or $800. I actually got mine for $500. I waited for a sale and I purchased it once I found it at that price. That was the cheapest I've ever seen it, but I fairly regularly see them at about $600. So if you're looking for a good deal, maybe keep an eye out, and if you see it for $500 or $600, probably purchase it then, because that's about as cheap as you see them. But this one works great. The reason I went with this one is because it has a high output. You can an output of up to 2,200 watts, it says, and it charges very quickly. Now, the reason I wanted a high output is because I wanted to run a couple of things off of it that smaller battery banks usually can't, like a microwave or an Instant Pot. So I'll show you, stop share. So right here is our Instant Pot. We can actually cook dinner off of this battery using an Instant Pot for our family and only use about 10 or 15% of the battery life cooking a dinner. And then I can recharge that amount of battery in about an hour and a half to 2 hours using the solar panel. So it's a really quite an efficient way to do things. My experience with this battery is that if the power is out and we're cooking with it, if we're charging phones, charging flashlights, headlamps, all of those types of things, we only maybe draw down the battery about 25% a day. And that can be recharged in 2.5 to 3 hours using a solar panel in full sun, or 5 or 6 hours on a cloudy day. So that's pretty good. This solar panel is only 100 watts. You can actually get multiple panels and wire them together, and they'll charge even in half the time. So my experience is that this battery or something similar in size and output to this is very useful and fairly efficient. And even with just one solar panel, it can be a good long-term power solution, I guess. So we run our Instant Pot off of the battery in an emergency. We can also run our oven off of it. Now our oven runs off of gas. It's a gas oven and a gas range, but it has to be plugged into power for the little computer to work so that we can set our temperature on our oven and those types of things. It draws very, very little power to be able to run the oven, but it still has to be plugged in. So with a battery like this, we can use our oven if the power is out. Now, obviously it's not gonna have enough power to run an electric range, an electric oven. Obviously you can't do that. But for a gas oven, it'll work. Another accessory, microwave. We can use our microwave with this one. I've had smaller batteries before that wouldn't put out a whole lot of juice in a microwave, and what would normally take 15 or 20 seconds to warm up takes a minute or two, and it still struggles to warm up off of the smaller batteries. This one will allow our microwave to run at full power, and so that's pretty sweet. The final accessory that we use it for, and I think this is kind of a big deal, is we can run our furnace off of it. Our furnace runs off of natural gas, but the blower has to be plugged in. It runs off of electricity. So if the power's out, our furnace doesn't work. When we plug our furnace into this, and I've wired a cable into the furnace. It's not hard to do. There's some YouTube videos online that show you how to do it. I can even link one in the description if you're curious. You can buy a little $10 accessory cord from Lowe's or Home Depot and then wire it into the furnace. And if the power goes out, you can plug the furnace into a battery like this and run the blower off of it and the thermostat off of it, and you can still heat your house using your furnace. Why that's so important to me is less about the comfort, because we have warm clothes and we have warm sleeping bags and stuff. If the power was out, even in the winter, we could survive. But what's so important is I don't want my pipes to freeze and damage our house. If the power goes out for 3 or 4 or 5 days during the winter here in the mountains of Utah, we'd be in a world of hurt. Using this, I can keep the furnace running and keep the house at 50, 60 degrees and not have those issues, and be relatively comfortable for our family. So anyway, a lot of uses for a battery bank like this. Again, I prefer EcoFlow, but lots of different options. Harbor Freight has a brand called Jackery that offers battery banks like this one. These little battery banks, they're useful for travel and stuff. They're not nearly as big, which is kind of nice, but they don't have as much storage and they don't put out as much power. So this one here, 1,000-watt peak output, whereas the EcoFlow that I have is about 2,000 watts of peak output. And then this has 550 watt hour storage. The one that I have has about 1,000 watt hour storage, and I was able to get mine for about the same price as this one. So again, I'd look at EcoFlow and watch for a sale. And if you don't need it right away, although I wouldn't probably wait too long to get something like this if this is something that you feel would be really useful. Anyway, there are other options on the market, but I do prefer EcoFlow. I was going to show you the solar panel that I bought is this $119 100-watt solar panel. I got it on a sale for $99, so fairly inexpensive. I haven't found a solar panel cheaper than that. I've had a couple of these and used them in the past, and they've worked well, so I do like them. I think they're a good option, again, at Harbor Freight. But there are other ones available, some that fold and are a little easier to transport, that sort of thing. So anyway, that's it for today for this video. If you found this useful, then don't forget to subscribe. If there are questions that you have, or if there are insights or comments that you would like to share with me or anybody else watching these videos, please leave those comments below. But like and subscribe, and let me know if there are any other videos that you would like me to address as far as emergency preparedness topics go. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.